Good evening, Rabbi. We're approaching the great day of judgment, Rosh Hashana, right? And everybody is judged in this day. No matter he knows about it, he believes in it, doesn't believe in it. The Jew, the non-Jew, everything is judged. Everybody's judged. So nobody, can say, well, I didn't know about it. I don't know. I'm not Jewish. Whatever. It doesn't make any difference what you are. Everybody's judged. But the most important thing to understand is that the judgment is really like brand new. So you can change everything. Whatever you have now, you can make life much, much better. Just do teshuvah. The most important thing is, be as good as you can. Be a good boy. And trying to improve everything. There's a lot of things that people have to do in order to do teshuvah. Do the cheshbon nefesh. What does that mean? Look into your deeds. Look into your mind. Look into your thoughts. Look into your habits. Make sure everything you check. Make a checklist. Am I doing the right thing? First of all, there's a lot of things to talk about, but one thing you should ask, do you owe anybody money? Like, that you didn't pay him? You have a debt, and you should pay him now. If you forgot to pay him, I forgot to pay you, I'm sorry. Why did you forget? Well, you have money in the bank. If you have money, take out from the bank and pay the debt. That's the way it works. So, because sometimes what happens is that a person, he has a debt, doesn't want to pay, he's cheap. So because of that, this person has a kfeda on him, He's like waiting for his money. Where's my money? He doesn't pay me. He already owes me for 2 years. Didn't pay me the money. Why not? I don't know. He keeps it in the bank. He wants to, save it for himself. No, you can't do that, right? If you have money, pay the debt. Whatever you can pay. Because this way, right, the judgment, the kitrug, right, the accusation of somebody, having on you some accusation will be taken away. This is a very, very, so you have to calculate your financial issues, like that. You got to make sure you're paid up, with all your, especially, your community. Nobody out here has a kfeda on you, some kind of, he took my money, he never paid me, this kind of thing. Make sure you're up to date on your debts. That's one thing. If you don't have, you don't have. Sometimes a person doesn't have what to pay. He owes money, but he doesn't have money to pay. So what can you do? Right? Then when we say Anus Rachamana Patra, if he doesn't have the money, what are we going to do? Kill him? Execute him? What are we going to do? This is not Russia, right? The Putin over here. We don't do things like that, right? That's a different kind of. Over there, everything is mafia. If you owe somebody some money, they'll come and they'll kill you. It needs to be like this also here in America. In New York, there was loan sharks going around. And if you owed money, they would beat you up, put you in the hospital. Today, Baruch Hashem, things are a little bit better. So hopefully they're not going to do that. But if a person doesn't have money, what can he do? Like, as a person, by the way, I'll ask you a question, by the way. Let's say a person owes money, to somebody. Is he obligated to sell his house to pay the debt? No, it's true. Why? Because you have to have a house to live in, You have a place to live. What are you going to do? Have to live in the street? So, you have to go, you don't have to go that far, to pay the debts. But if you have money, some extra whatever, or something in the bank, whatever, and you're just keeping it there, why not pay the guy? Why, right, to make a whole hassle out of it? It's not a good idea. I just, had a friend of mine who called me from this community. He plays in a different place, doesn't play over here. But from Bukharian community. Nice guy. Calls me up. He says, Rabbi, says, there's a nice story he told me, that he lent somebody some money, and what happened was that he didn't really make a contract, whatever, so there was no proof, whatever. But then the Shemitah came, the Shemitah year, and what happened was that he goes to the guy, that he owes him the money. He tells him, you're going to pay me? I'm going to do Prosbul on you, right? Prosbul means you're passing over the debt to the Bet Din. So this way, right, the Shemitah won't cancel it. There's like a form like that, You take it to the Bet Din, you fill it out, and then you can still ask for the money. But what happened was that this guy was a little bit tricky, So what did he tell him? Look what he tells him. He says, you don't need to make Prosbul, he says. No, don't worry, he says, I'll pay you, don't worry. No, don't Prosbul, no problem, In the end, what happened? He didn't pay him, he didn't pay him. So now, the problem is, he can't even ask him for the money anymore. You see how tricky it is sometimes? Don't trust people, when it comes to these things. Make sure, you get everything on paper, official. Loan is not a game, You lend somebody $10,000, you may never see that again. So that's why the Chazal say in Talmud and also in Shulchan Aruch, it's written, Choshev Mishpat, that a person who gives a debt to somebody, You have to have witnesses there. Don't give a debt. Don't lend money. I'm not talking about $5. What do you care? What do you care about $5? Right? If he never gives it back to you, it will be tzedakah. Baruch Hashem. What's the big deal? I'm talking about summer money. Serious money. That for that money, it's for you. It's a serious money. You need it back. It's not a game for you. So in case like that, Chazal say, you have to make sure you have witnesses. Because what does that do? It protects you. Just in case this guy forgets about it. Oh, gee, I forgot. I don't remember you lent me money. I don't remember such a thing like that. So tell them, oh, excuse me, there. We have two witnesses. Let's bring them in. They'll tell you. They're going to remind you. This is the thing. And it says in Shulchan Aruch another thing. It says that even better than having witnesses is to make a contract. Contract is even better. Why? Because everything is written out. No monkey business, no games. Even if the witnesses, let's say, they moved to a different country, right? Let's say they moved. They went back to Bukhara, to do business over there. Or they went to Israel. You can't find them. Okay, fine, but I have a contract. We got it, So even if the witnesses are gone, you got a contract. And it says like this in Shulchan Aruch, right? And if you don't do this, if you don't lend money, right, and you lend money to people and you don't use witnesses or a contract, what's going to be is that you're going to cause that person to sin. Because one day he may deny the debt. He's going to tell you, oh, I don't remember. You never lent me money. I remember when I was in the Georgian school, there was one guy over there that I spoke to, So it was a very funny story, that he said, right, that he borrowed money from somebody. One guy over there told me, he borrowed, one of the Gabbaim over there, he borrowed money from somebody, and then he says, I paid him back. So then all of a sudden, comes this guy and tells him, you still owe me $10,000. What happened? You never paid me. So he tells him, he says, I paid you back. What are you talking about? The problem was there was no witnesses, So he can't prove that he paid him. That's also very bad. You know what I mean? Everything has to be done with witnesses. Borrowing the money, giving back the money, make sure you get a receipt, Got a receipt? I'm paid. Oh, now it's good, right? Don't just do, this. Unfortunately, in this community, people don't trust each other, They say, yeah, he's my cousin. He'll pay me. Yeah, your cousin will also steal from you. Don't worry. Don't trust nobody. You can't. You're not allowed to. It says in Shulchan Aruch, even if the person is a Talmid Chacham, Talmid Chacham, he has a hat, a beard, this peot. Not allowed to lend them money without witnesses. Even a Talmid Chacham can mess up. You can forget. They say, by the way, Talmid Chachamim, they're notorious for one thing. They're famous for one thing. They forget. You know why? Because they're always thinking about Torah, So their mind is in the Torah. So because of that, they're not thinking about the financial, things, it's like they forget stuff. So we got to be careful with Chachamim sometimes, Sometimes they forget. They have to, you gave me money? I forgot. I don't know what's going on. I don't remember you gave me money. So I'll tell you what happened, right? So comes this guy and tells him, you never paid me that money. You're a liar. Tells him, no, I paid you. What are you talking about? So look what happens. It's something funny, right? Nowadays we have technology, right? So he tells him, he says, I paid you at this place, this place. And there was cameras over there. He says, I'm going to go and check the cameras. And make sure, and show you that I paid you. So what did he do? He actually went there, to that place. That cameras, and they checked it. The date, and it shows that he really paid the money. This was the only way he was able to prove it, Otherwise he wouldn't. So you see, right, that this is the reason. Don't always rely on cameras, Make sure you get witnesses. That's the proper way to do debts, And also, as we said, right, that this guy also made a mistake. Now he's asking me, right, this guy here from the neighborhood, he's telling me, oh, Rabbi, I can't ask him for the money because already, the Shemitah already passed. You're not allowed to ask. If you don't do Prosbul, right, after the Shemitah passes, you can't even go to him and say, where's my money, sir? You can't even tell him that, You can't mention it. So he tells me, he says, my wife wants to go and tell him, So I said, what can I do, If your wife wants to tell him, it's not my business. But you can't tell him. He owes you the money, What can I do? What can I do, right? So a guy tells him, yeah, I'll pay you, but who knows? God knows when he'll get that money back. He's stuck now. Why? Because he trusted his relative. He's my relative, he's my cousin, he's my uncle, this, that. This is not the way to do business, you know what I mean? So what happens is like this, that says in the Shulchan Aruch, listen to this, right? That a person, he's causing that person to sin by not having witnesses, because he's going to cheat you and he's going to lie to you and forget. Not only that, okay, But he gets also cursed, the person who lended the money. Why? Because he caused that person to sin, by not having witnesses. So as a rule, right, if you want your money back, you're makpid to get your money back, always have witnesses, right? It's halakha. It's not just a recommendation, you know what I mean? It's obligation. That's the way it is,
It's halakha, it's a mitzvah to lend the money.
Yeah.
Now, let's say 7 years passed, and he knows he's not going to get it. Can he make another mitzvah and excuse it?
Yeah, if you want to forgive, if you want to be mochel, that's beautiful, But not everybody wants that, you know what I mean? Some people can't be mochel. Some people can't forgive, Too much money for them, It's heavy money, You don't want to be mochel. If you're going to be mochel, no problem. You don't need witnesses, nothing. You can do the debt, just the way as is. But if you can't be mochel, and you can't forgive, so then don't play games like that.
You're never going to get money back. So you better excuse it instead of punish both.
Well, here's the thing, right? There is a. By the way, once you have a contract or witnesses, there is a way to get your money back. You know how you do it? First, you take him to bed din, right? Take him to bed din. And, over there, when you go to bed din, they make you sign arbitration papers, So what does that mean? You're obligated, whatever they decide, You sign to listen to the bed din. So if you sign a contract, arbitration papers, whatever they decide, you have to do. Again, according to the law. That's the way the law. Secular law. So here's the thing, right? If he doesn't pay you, now we can divide the bed din will give you permission to take him to court, to secular court. You need permission from the bed din to do that. Otherwise you can't do it. Because otherwise, it's considered to be a very big sin, to go to secular court. By the way, that's another rule, that a person has to know. You're not allowed to sue any Jew in secular court without getting permission from the bed din. They say, right, whoever does this, he uproots the Torah of Moshe and Israel. He's considered to be a big sinner, a big rasha. Right? He doesn't have a portion of the world to come. Just like this, So you can't sue somebody in a secular court unless you get permission from Beit Din. That's the way it goes, Unless you get permission from a dayan, and somebody tells you, okay, this case has to go over there, we can't help you. If he doesn't want to pay, take him. So now you can sue him, And then what's going to be, right? You're going to get a lawyer, okay? The lawyer is going to sue him for the money, and also for the fees, for this, and for services, and this. He's going to pay 10 times more than, the whole debt, because now you got all these, fees accrued and all this stuff, all kinds of stuff. That's the way it is, So there is a way to get your money back. When you have a contract, you can get your money back. When you don't have witnesses, no contract, you're stuck, You're finished, Kadosh Baruch Hu should give us a good judgment because of Hashem. Shana Tova U'Tuka. Whoever needs refuah shlema should have refuah shlema. Whoever needs parnasah should have better parnasah because of Hashem. Health, wealth, happiness, good relations with our neighbors, shalom bayit, shalom in the neighborhood, shalom with our community. Everybody should be loving each other, unity, achdut. Amen, amen. Chazak u'baruch.